How are you, seekers of alternative truth and lovers of institutional surrealism? Welcome to this corner, where reality surpasses the comedy of errors we call national politics. Make yourselves comfortable, because today we're going to analyze how Uncle Sam now wants to target not just men with boots and hats, but also those in Italian suits. And what about the Swiss bank accounts? That's why there have been so many courtesy visits with their big planes to Mexican soil, according to urban legend. Videos show people more fearful than hopeful, as the sky in Mexicali and Toluca turns military gray. For example, with that important Lockheed Martin C-130 Super Hercules from the United States Armed Forces, which landed in Toluca. And, oh, surprise, it wasn't carrying vaccines or humanitarian aid. Let's get to it, because it seems that on the chessboard of binational politics, someone finally realized that crime bosses don't operate with piggy banks or keep their millions under the mattress. It turns out that while we were busy watching how many armed forces aircraft took off with 37 guests of honor to Washington and New York, Donald Trump was already cooking up phase 2 of his master plan. Let's be honest, extraditing 92 distinguished criminals during Claudia Sheinbaum's term is just a decorative number, an ornament for negotiations. But Trump, with that subtle style of a bull in a china shop, has decided that the real juice isn't in the hitmen, but in those who handle their accounting. And this is exactly where the next phase of his plan comes in. According to the double-tongued, we have officially entered the era of the persecution of financial architecture. Criminal groups, unsurprisingly, rely on banks, real estate agencies, and construction companies, and those shell companies that appear like mushrooms in the rainy season to launder assets, all under a facade of legality. And how are they going to find them? Very easy. Washington currently has the best library in the world, the testimonies of figures like El Mayo Zambada and the Guzman family. Imagine those coffee talks in high-security prisons. Hey, and who helped you move those $1 billion? Oh, I have a businessman friend who blah blah blah. Bingo, pure intelligence to suffocate the economic structures. This is where the Gringo Justice Oscars nominees come in. Hold on to your seats, because the list of names that are starting to come up shines brighter than a red carpet, but with a touch of fuel theft and suspicion. Raul Rocha Cantu. Yes, the very same co-owner of Miss Universe, who is accused of injecting capital that comes from none other than fuel theft. From the catwalks to the defendant's bench, what elegance! France or Texas style. In this case, we have the distinguished Alfonso Romo and his Vector brokerage firm. Oh, surprise. The former presidential office chief is under scrutiny, rumor has it, and the files up there say that his institution might have moved funds of rather dubious origin, linked to criminal networks. Who would have thought that of someone so close to power and to Jumento Macuspano? Who? At the top? There's also Pemex's duo, Ramon Alejandro Rovirosa Martinez and Mario Alberto Avila Lizarraga. These gentlemen, according to the United States justice system, were engaged in the noble task of bribing officials to obtain million-dollar contracts that just happened to feed criminal structures. Marta Emilia Conde, known for her many businesses, has been identified as an intermediary for a Sinaloa criminal group and owns companies like Commercial Biosma del Noreste Químico. Crime needs cleaning products too. I suppose the pressure won't stop at a simple extradition request, right? Mr. Trump is coming with the full package: visa cancellations, asset freezes, and trade restrictions. He's going to cut off their access to the civilized world. Let's see who lasts longer without European vacations or Fifth Avenue shopping. The most curious thing about all this is that, according to what they say, Mexico has opened the door wide open. And let's not forget that in the cosmogony of the new Tenochtitlan, as prescribed by the offerings, they're no longer hearts on a stone plate. Now it was 37 criminal leaders packaged as gifts. You see how Chachan Baum tells us, with that charming voice, that this is for Mexico's convenience and for national security? Of course, we have to believe her. It was just a coincidence that right on the anniversary of Donald Trump's return to the White House, the Morena government sent him a happy birthday. A president with 37 heads of criminal groups. But this is where the sarcasm is written. Only on that list of offerings you won't see any friends of the house. No one from the close circle of Macuspana. Of course not. Sovereignty, as they explain to us, is defending Mexico. But in the Morena Party's dictionary, Mexico seems to be synonymous with prominent members of the party. While the criminals from outside are put on the plane, here inside, the Attorney General's office, that extremely serious institution, has decided to make its own offering. They have conveniently frozen 37 complaints against Adán Augusto López. Yes, Grandpa Monster, you heard right. 37. 37 complaints for ties with groups like La Barradora, and million-dollar embezzlements that would make any pirate of the Caribbean pale in comparison. Since Adán is honest, the investigation files remain undisturbed. It's a poetic beauty. 37 criminals for Trump. 37 frozen complaints for the star operator. The perfect balance of the Morenista universe. The Chachas and Macaspano donkey think they're stalling. Do they think that with these human sacrifices they're going to satisfy Washington's hunger for justice or revenge for the gringos? The white-collar criminals who operate from the Senate or from state governments like Sinaloa's or Baja California are part of the same ecosystem. There's no offering, no matter how many Hercules planes they fill, that can erase the names already written in the Drug Enforcement Administration is notebooks. Who's next on the altar for you? So, my dear citizens of well-being, I say goodbye. Just remember, in this Mexican Game of Thrones, if you're not making the sacrifice, you're probably next on the list. Behave badly, because we already have the businessmen and officials from the list to behave well. Have an excellent sovereign day.
You can donate via PayPal. Details are in the comments. Your support keeps this channel active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications every time there's new content. Thank you.